put a label on it, even if it doesn't change the circumstance. Because there's so much about this moment that is trying to make people feel like they've lost their mind. When in fact, these motherfuckers are crazy.
Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. Thank you so much for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra. And you will see I had to pull out my Aaliyah t-shirt for this one. I don't love this shirt, even though I love Aaliyah. This shirt, her eyes are so sad on it, but I think it is fitting for the topic. And the topic, one of the topics, but the main thumbnail, the thing that struck me this morning when I was just reviewing the news, was Brandy has a new book coming out, which I actually cannot wait to read. And I am not a person that picks and chooses, the thing was, but I actually came live to talk about this because, of course, we will leave it to the Breakfast Club and Leonard McKelvey, otherwise self-proclaimed Charlemagne. Not going to say the other part of his name. I'm so glad that the viewership is down on Netflix. It can only get lower. That's what I really hope. You see my backdrop. It's the four sisters just chilling, saying let it all burn down. Because this has been the culture for quite some time, or part of it. And if you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, we all know that there was a young teenage love. Brandy was 16, but Wanya Morris was a 22-year-old man. And so, of course, people like Charlemagne are going to find that funny, going to find it cute, going to say it's a different time, going to say all these things. But it wasn't right then. It's certainly not right now. And I think the fact that we allowed a lot of this to go on and just kind of turn a blind eye to it, certain ones, as we know, got worse and worse. And now we have a PDF file that has actually been elected to a second term. And if people think those things aren't related, I don't know what to tell them. Those things actually are related. So I'm going to just show a little clip of this, and I'll show it old school. I didn't have time to load it or anything, so I'm going to pull it up. I want to hear what his demeanor is during this too, because I haven't listened to all of it.
Y'all did.
Yeah, she was. Not that young. Not young. No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I stopped it. Hold on. That's why I stopped it and said that she wasn't that young, because I don't want y'all to think Boyz II Men was dog weed. Nah. I was young too.
She said she was 15 and she had to keep it a secret because she was so young.
See, we did the thing. We did the thing when she was like 16, 17, around that time, you know.
So you were still a boy too.
I wasn't old. I wasn't like 38 years old and nothing like that. I was old enough to. She was old enough to get it.
Okay. But was it legal in the state y'all was in?
I mean, we was always in different states. We had a nomad relationship. You know what I'm saying? We just, we didn't do it in the states that it was legal. It was illegal in. Nice.
Oh my gosh. Political.
No. It was, you know what I mean? It was a...
Let me stop this right now. This is actually gonna, that's kind of disgusting. I'm sorry, y'all. I hadn't listened to the clip. So this was apparently when I hear Yee on there cackling. So, okay, this is old, y'all. Okay, the reason why this is resurfaced, this is from 2014. Welcome in everybody that came in since I started the video. I hadn't really gotten started yet. Sharon Galba, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining the live. Thank you. CC, my moderator, welcome for coming in. Welcome. Thank you for coming in during the live. Thank you. Welcome to Sandra P's Gen Extra. Please like, share, subscribe to enjoy all the amazing content. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And then you ladies are greeting each other. Thank you. So if you saw the thumbnail, it's entitled Brandy Wasn't Fast. Now, Charlemagne, I know, has recently said something stupid. I have to find it. Haven't finished listening to it yet. I pulled up the first Breakfast Club clip because it had Wanya on it, but this was an old one. It's from 2014. And even then they were trying to joke and make it cute and say Brandy was young, but not that young. And she's young enough to get, old enough to get it and did the thing and all this kind of stuff. I will tell you what I know from what Brandy is, what's been released in her book. I'm going to buy her book and read her book. There's a reason they call this young lady the vocal Bible. I love Brandy's voice. I didn't make time to go to that concert, but I can just tell that I'm going to be sickened by the way the conversation is going to be framed. So I just want to think out loud, get my thoughts out there, and then talk to the chat a little bit about it. Welcome in, Sharon Gobble. Thank you so much. I already welcome Sharon Gobble in. I don't see why they find this funny. Sharon, I don't either. We'll talk about it. Linda Gamble, welcome in, my moderator. I appreciate you for coming in, greeting me, greeting everyone that is in the chat. Thank you. Brandy was 16 years old. Now, I remember this in real time. Wanya is more along the age of me. He's Gen X. Okay, so we're in our mid-50s. Brandy is younger. Her and Monica are along the same age. So Brandy was 16 years old. She was having a relationship with the grown adult Wanya Morris from Boyz II Men. And they're trying to frame it as if she was young, but not that young. She was young, but not jailbait. 16 is jailbait. 16, you can go to jail for that. But because they're in that industry, the entertainment industry, and they have made the ages lower and lower, make the girls older and older, and calling them fast and all this kind of stuff, Brandy was not fast. I don't care what people are saying. I don't care about the fact, well, she went on Oprah and hit a baby. No, pretended to be married. That was the time. I do remember when that happened. I thought the whole thing was bizarre because she actually had a special. It's like a pregnancy special. And the guy, her daughter's father, Robert, I think, he was a music producer. He's related to one of the big name producers, maybe Rodney Jerkins. But he was in a whole other relationship. Brandy was the one that was on the side of that relationship. So I think the whole thing was a source of embarrassment to her. And then with her career and Cinderella and all this kind of stuff, I do see why they wanted to keep a certain image for her, but that still didn't make her fast or someone to be judged. It doesn't change the fact that she's 16. And she says when she met him and fell in love and they started dating and people saying, oh, puppy love, it's so cute. She was 15, 16. Wanya was a grown adult, 21, 22 years old. And then he admits himself that the first time we did the thing, and she says he took her virginity. She was 16. This man was still 22. So he said, oh, yeah, I was not like I was 30. Ninja, you don't have to be 30. You're older than her. And I want us to just, I know we're going to get different opinions, and that's always fine. Polite contrarians are welcome. But I just want to approach this with a sense of delicacy, keeping in mind your daughters, your nieces, yourself at 16, because this is a topic that really gets under my skin. Aaliyah's probably 21 here. Again, we lost Aaliyah. Was she 22 or 23? And then her story is the one that we've always talked about because Vibe magazine, my sister and I subscribed to Vibe magazine. We are music heads. We loved all of that. Gen X is our generation, and we came up with all of that. But they were the ones that printed the marriage certificate between Aaliyah, who was 15, and R. Kelly. Where the parents, people, and all this kind of stuff. Now, we know that the parents were involved in that. There was a lot that went on with that. But what we're talking about now is Brandy and Wanya. And then as we bring things in, they factor in. We'll talk about that too. Welcome in, everybody. Everyone's greeting each other. Kiwan J came in. I'm going to miss some of the comments. I apologize for that. But okay, here we go. Thank you so much for joining during the live, Kiwan J. She is my fellow content creator, and I am so glad to see you during the live. Hello, hello, hello. And everyone who is listening at work or you just have an earbud in, I appreciate you as well. Just click the like button. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you so much. Cynthia Christian, thank you so much for coming in. Good morning, Sandra P. Mods in chat. Thank you. Thank you. A couple of moderators already here, Linda Gamble and Cece. Everyone is speaking. Hi, ladies. And then let me read Cece's comment. You mean to tell me that they are not going in on Wanya for inappropriate relationship with a minor? Where the heck was Sonia, Brandy's dad? These kids are just giving up for riches. Yeah, that's the part of it that makes me a little upset, Cece. The way that it's framed is always or usually that the girl is fast or she's already working, she's already traveling, she was in the industry. 16 is 16. And we had the opportunity to watch Brandy grow up. And we know that she was never a mature 16. And again, the age is the age. I don't care what they make it. The age is the age. Her mother, Sonia, is her manager, momager. But Cece's right. A lot of them put the money, what the child is bringing in support of the whole family, monetarily, put that to the side. And we can't take anything away from Sonia Norwood's business side of it, the management side of it. But if you look at Brandy's amazing. I think she has come such a long way. And I hope this book does a lot of healing to her. But when you look at the momager, and then you look at Willie Norwood Sr., and look at who Ray J is today, even what his businesses are. He's amazing in business. He's a broken individual. Ray J is a broken individual. And Brandy is probably has suffered a lot too, with her mom right there. I'll read a couple more comments, and then I'm going to try to find what Brandy said lately. I know it is excerpts that they're leaking from her book, or they may be released from her book. I'm glad that she's comfortable enough to put this in a book. And then I know the ignorant Charlemagne, who really he should tread lightly on this topic, because Charlemagne had his own incident where he settled out of court with Jessica. I think her last name was White. And I had recently moved. I was in college in Charlotte when all of that happened, because he had a name here then. He was on and off the radio. And he took one of these 15-year-olds under his wing as a little cuz and met her mom and went to her house and said, nothing's going to happen to her when she's with me. That's my little cuz. And they go out. And, of course, there's drinking, which is what he pleaded to. When Kwame Brown wraps him up, Kwame Brown's on YouTube, but he's a former NBA basketball player. He was with the Hornets back then, but the Lakers. He's the one that Stephen A. used to always drag as being a bust, and he wasn't a bust. He went into the industry. He was, I think, Kwame was the first person to be drafted straight out of high school, and the NBA did not want to start that, so they used Big Mouth Raccoon Stephen A. to drag this young man all over everywhere, sports media, and Kwame, I think he spent over 10 years in the league. He had a very successful career. He very successful supporting role, but he drags Stephen A. He drags Charlemagne because they're from the same place, Moncks Corner, South Carolina. So Charlemagne has been lost his soul, but he's out here kikiing and laughing. He thinks it's hilarious, but he pled to a lesser charge, and the charge was giving this girl alcohol. But what Jessica says, her mom did not allow her to testify. That was a different time. That was probably the early 90s. And the person would be fast. They would be a garden tool. It would be all on them. Charlemagne came into the room. He provided the alcohol. And she says that multiple men violated her. He picked her up. She too young to have a driver's license. She didn't have a learner's permit. He picked her up. And she ended up in this situation under the influence with men that he brought around. And I don't know if she ever said, I can't remember if he pled to something that was a lot less than what he actually did. So the fact that he still gets on the radio and laughs about this is amazing to me. But I'm glad his numbers are down. It couldn't happen to a better person. The Anitra J, thank you so much for coming in during the live. I was saying that roundabout thing in a way to get back to the Brandy Norwood, Wanya Morris story. And I knew Boyz II Men. Another thing they were trying to say is, well, it's not like he was 30. He's 22 and she's 16. So that still is, to me, out of line, out of pocket. And I love myself some Boyz II Men as far as their voice. I've lost all respect for Angela Yee. I used to like her. Sharon Gabo, she'll sit up and cackle and laugh with anything. Now, she finally ended up leaving them and doing her own thing. She does Way Up with Angela Yee. But she put up with a lot over the years from Envy and Charlemagne. I couldn't have sat there and cackled with them, kind of like back in the day Robin used to do with Howard Stern. Everything's not funny. And then a lot of time people would say stuff like, well, if you get the opportunity to have this job or you this, that, and the other, okay, that's all well and good. But at what point do you feel like you're giving away a piece of your soul every time you laugh along with that? Like Corey Holcomb, when he's making those jokes about not even teenagers, he was talking about a baby sucking on a bottle and what about this and that, that she's going to be a garden tool and contact him in X amount of years. Darlene, who used to be married to Ice-T, she's sitting right there kind of laughing with it. So at some point, somebody has to say, listen, I can't just sit up and laugh with this. It's not funny. And I already know that this is going to be a firestorm and Brandy's going to be dragged for telling her story. Boyz II Men is in the middle of an extremely popular tour now, the New Edition way. And everybody knows I'm a New Edition stan. I love New Edition. My sister and I, one of my nieces, we Grateful Dead them every year. That means there are people, Grateful Dead, that old boomer rock band, when they go on tour, there are people that go to every single show. We don't go to every single show, but we'll pick certain cities and we will go and make sure we see New Edition in different settings, different cities. And of course, when they're in Vegas, that's my favorite way to see them because they're usually at the Wynn. So we've been to 3 residencies. We've seen them in Aruba. They did Soul Beach down in Aruba. So I love New Edition, but some of the stuff you can see from the movie, they would do a lot of, I mean, that was the time. It was just a nasty time. And I think it still is now, but a lot of it's behind the scenes because if you're not in the highest levels of government or corporate America, they don't get away with that the way they used to. But again, a PDF file was just reelected. And we're not talking about 15-year-olds now. They're talking about literal babies and toddlers. So this is getting disgusted. Yes, Stephen A. he's a raccoon. He's a piece of ish. He's always been that. He's never been anybody that's admirable to me. He can speak really loudly. He can be entertaining on sports sometime, but what they have used him for, now he's threatening to run for political office. What qualifies him? But again, now they say, well, look who's there. You don't need qualifications. I hope we get back to where you do need qualifications because we can't get any worse, but still. Angela Yee is just as bad. I think so too, Cynthia Christian. I think when women sit up and do that, they are just as bad. And I have a problem with it. I've never liked it. I've seen the New Edition. I'm sorry, my glasses are playing tricks on me. The first time when I was young, before Bobby left. Oh yeah, you've seen them live 3 times? Yes, that is an amazing show. They put on an amazing show, CC. If you get to see the New Edition way, it's our girl, Toni Braxton. Toni has a short set, but it's good. She gets a few costume changes. She gets to be Toni D. Braxton, and she got a look with a hat. We get to see her pixie in one, and she's doing her long hair on one. Unbreak My Heart is like a big angel costume. So Toni's doing it up. So we got New Edition, and then they break out into all the different groups. You'll get a BBD performance, Ralph Tresvant doing his one singular solo record that he had. He has 2 songs from there. Then Johnny Gill, and then of course Bobby Brown has a whole set. And the good thing about the New Edition way, Boyz II Men has a whole set. Them and Toni open it. It alternates, but they're each other's backup. So I find that I loved it. When Ralph was doing his set, Boyz II Men was his backup. And then when Toni was doing her song, Boyz II Men backed her up on Breathe Again. So that was really beautiful. I loved it. But it's going to be all over the YouTube streets. When I saw it this morning, I was like, okay, this is really disgraceful and disgusting. But I want to see if I can find Kanye. Not Kanye. Oh, why am I thinking about Kanye? I think he's going to resurface. Yuck. All right, let me see. So Charlemagne, I'm not sure. I wonder if Wanya has been on the Breakfast Club recently, because again, that was an old clip. I'm going to read some comments and then we'll get back to topic at hand. Okay. All right, they don't have the clip yet from that, so I will just go back and read what we had talked about. One moment. And if I have not said already, welcome in. Please click the like button. And thank you so much for joining me on Hump Day, Wednesday. I appreciate everybody that has recently subscribed and my subscribers that have been A1 Day Ones. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, y'all. I have to stop. I have to actually stop doing that because, okay, here it is. Brandy details Wanya Morris' relationship. Again, she's 16. He was 22. And she feels now that she was taken advantage of. I have to agree with her. But when you're in your 16-year-old mindset, you don't really feel that. So she is saying that she had a crush on him at the time. So she had the crush on him, but he ended up in a relationship with her and was the one that took her virginity. So y'all, that's it's not shocking because I'd heard about it, but this is terrible. I do remember watching they used to have the behind the music, kind of the unsung. They did one with Adina Howard, who's local. I think she still lives in Charlotte, but her career stalled because she started dating Wanya at the time as well. Now she was his age. She's a chef now, y'all. She is a successful chef here in Charlotte. But she started dating him at the time, and Brandy was upset about it. And of course, Brandy was like the golden girl, golden child at the time. She had her show, Moesha, of course, on TV. She had Cinderella, so she would do Disney type stuff. And then also she was on tour, and she was upset about it. So the record company, allegedly, this is what Adina Howard said during her unsung or behind the music, whichever one it was, spoke to her about, you can't be dating Wanya. Now, her and Wanya, that would have been more appropriate, but they spoke to her about don't date Wanya rather than telling Wanya, hey, Brandy's 16, you need to wait a couple more years before you start flying up in her face. This is crazy. I don't like Wanya, but his boys can sing. Yes, he has a group of them, maybe 4 or 5 of them. I heard that they're on certain dates. They weren't on, we saw them in Greensboro. They weren't there, but I love their voices. They are on, Mary J. Blige actually has a record label, and I think she works with them. I can't think of their name, but they have beautiful voices. I saw them singing to their mother one Mother's Day. They were doing the Boyz II Men song, Mama, from the Soul Food soundtrack. They're very talented. Yes, his sons are very talented. CeCe confirmed. Beautiful. So we're going to, and now actually Brandy was recently in the news because Shine was over on the Breakfast Club, and he was saying at the same time Brandy was also dating Mace. And it's funny now they're calling it dating. If you're 16 and all these grown men are sniffing around you, I don't know if I call that dating, but okay. Shine had mentioned that he had taken her out. Brandy took offense to it. She said they didn't date. They just spent a little bit of time together, but nothing else happened. So I'll read Brandy's statement. Brandy says, the shame ends here. The silence ends here. She adds I wish I could post this so you could see it. Let me see. The shame ends here. The silence ends here. She adds of coming to terms with the feeling that she was manipulated into and throughout the relationship. I was not a fast girl with a crush. I was not a dramatic teenager who couldn't handle rejection. I was not an unstable, obsessive fan. I was a child and he was an adult, and it's time the world understood the difference. So Brandy, I'm glad Brandy feels comfortable to speak out about it. I can't wait to read the book. Brandy's lived probably 3 or 4 lifetimes. Y'all remember she was in her 20s. She had an accident where she was driving and someone was killed in the accident, y'all. I think if I had a lot of money, I would have a driver because it's just dangerous. It's always easy to make women adjust so that men won't feel uncomfortable. Kiwan J, I'm finding that, well, I've always known that, and things have not changed, unfortunately. And when you say women, the age goes down to before you're even a woman. So instead of telling a 13-year-old, you got your belly out, you're trying to look grown, you're fast, you're this, you're that, you make sure that she's in an environment where she's protected and grown men won't be flying up in her face and telling her she's getting big and all this kind of stuff that creeps do and have done over the years. And now we see why. In the highest levels of government, we have these people that want to make this acceptable. They want to get rid of minimum ages and all this stuff for their own purposes because they are creeps. Cynthia Christensen says, he would have been in jail if it was my 16-year-old. Yeah, because some of these parents, I mean, when a 16-year-old girl is dating someone that's in her own age group, let's say a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old, they might be in the same high school, they might be in the same activities. You add a 22-year-old to the mix, 21 and up to the mix, that's too much. I don't like the difference between 14, 15-year-old and an 18-year-old because that's an adult person. And then they'll come in, honey, they'll get They are scientists. Well, the frontal lobe is not developed, and they will preach to you all this stuff, but the age difference is too much. CDW, thank you so much for coming in during the live. I appreciate it. Again, the topic is Brandy and Wanya Morris. Brandy has a book out, and she is speaking a little more forcefully on their relationship during the time she was 16 years old and he was 22. And she's starting to feel now that she was taken advantage of during that time. And I have to agree with her on that. She didn't see it as that then, possibly, because again, her mom, Sonia, was her manager, and I think didn't see it. Well, even if she saw it as problematic, I think with Boyz II Men status in the industry at that time, we have to remember the time they were winning all of these awards, Grammys. They were everywhere. They were dressed in their little Garanimal suits and harmonizing. And boys were seen as boys, even though they were grown tail men. So I don't know. I don't like what's going to happen. Now, I know it's going to be pretty negative. I can already tell, especially since the Breakfast Club is now involved. Again, if you joined from the beginning, the clip that I showed of Wanya, kind of joking and talking about it, is an older Breakfast Club clip. It's from 2014. But recently, Charlamagne has made statements about it. I'm curious to see as what. I haven't listened to all of it, but I'm going to do later in the week a Sandra Pease political discourse because I'm free to move about the cabin on Saturday. So we are going to sail. We'll be on our 7-day spring break cruise, and we're going to leave from New Orleans. So we are excited. Saturday is the day we're going to leave. So we'll be out first flight Saturday morning. So we'll get to have the day in New Orleans. I'm going to hit a couple of spots to eat. I'll share that with you. Kiwan J shared a restaurant with me for, I knew about the beignets. Cafe Du Monde has the beignets. Queen Sheba was talking about their coffee this morning. But the beignets are there. And then she gave me a couple of places for the po' boys. When my sons became juniors in high school, I told them no dating freshmen anymore. See that's actually safe because during that time, it just, there's different expectations in a lot of those relationships. Now, I didn't go to prom. I didn't want to go to prom. The person that asked me, I didn't like him, and I didn't like a lot of people at the school, so I didn't go to prom. But a lot of the people were renting hotels and were scheming that they were gonna have sex after prom. So I don't know, and some of it probably wasn't consensual because a lot of these boys, if they paid for a room and that sort of thing, you know, I think it would be safe to tell your sons that no, you have to date a junior or senior if you're a junior or senior rather than freshman, because those girls are 14 years old. And the maturity level between a 14-year-old and 17-year-old, 18-year-old is a lot. Even though they're trying to make the boys into little babies, and they're not. They may act immature, but that, to me, that's like weaponized incompetence. They don't want to wash their own clothes and clean up their own room and cook their own food. But if you teach and tell a boy how to do that, they can do it. There's nothing stopping them from doing it. We expect that of the girls, so why not? Now, in my house, thankfully, there was a bunch of kids in my house with my mother and father, both being from the South, even though they moved. We grew up in Yonkers, New York. All the kids were born there. And the boys had chores and duties. The girls had chores and duties, but we could all do everything. My brothers could cook. My brothers could wash. My brothers could clean. And everybody had things that they were supposed to do and could do. And I think that's the best way to do it instead of gender assigned roles. I mean, some of that may come in. We lived in an apartment, so of course we didn't have grass to cut and stuff. So I understand why some people end up having some gender related roles, but it's really important for boys to know how to wash, cook, take care of themselves, and not have it where they think a girl or a woman is going to do these things for them. Because how do you even attract a wife if you can't even take care of yourself? Because a lot of these younger women now, they're not putting up with it. They don't want to raise some grown man baby who should already be raised. Don't forget to like the live. If you're subscribed, make sure to turn on the notifications bell to all so you never miss a live or a new post. If you're not subscribed, please do so. Thank you so much for the housekeeping, CC, giving that information and you bringing attention to that. I actually did put in 2 new posts yesterday. 2 of the things I could not find during the live, I found them after, and then I posted. So go look at that. It was the picture of, we spoke about Giselle Bryant and one of the twins recreating a picture from when she crossed over in her green beret, which was gorgeous. So that's over there. And then also the hype feature. If your team replay, you can hype a video, and it's not available on all videos. And actually it's for from smaller to mid-size to some I consider large creators, but the super size 100,000 and up, it's not available, but it is available for my videos, of course. So please go in there and like the video. Yes, 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 Kiwan J. I'm looking forward to spring break. I'm ready. I saw it. Thank you so much. Yes, I made sure I put that up because we had talked about it. So let me see. I'm going to read some more. Now, this young man, it's Dwight Thomas. I'll let him play because he's saying a lot that I like to hear from him. He's on, I don't know if this is TikTok. I think this is TikTok. But he's on a lot of different sites. Let me start. Okay.
In her new memoir titled Phases, Brandy confirms that her and Wanya Morris of Boyz II Men dated when she was only 16 and he was 22. Even though in the past, he said that they did not start dating until she was of legal age. Now, rumors about them dating when Brandy was underage have always been circulating. However, they were never confirmed. In fact, Wanya Morris on a live in 2021 said that there were no lies there and that him and Brandy did not start dating until she was of legal age. And he even said that people could ask Brandy and she would say the same thing. Ironically enough, no one needed to ask Brandy because she penned about it in her new memoir. Brandy explains that their relationship initially started as him being a musical mentor for her, and that he took advantage of that situation and had her believing that she was actually in love. She confirms that the two of them were intimate, and that when they were intimate, he was a selfish lover. And he just wanted someone who was too young to know that she was being used. She also shared that the two of them had plans to go public once she turned 18, but before that could happen, she caught him fooling around with an assistant, and he confessed to having other infidelities during their relationship. In her new memoir titled Phases, Brandy confirms that her and Wanya Morris of Boyz II Men dated when she was only 16 and he was 22. Even though in the past, he said that they did not start dating until she was of legal age. Now, rumors about them dating when Brandy was
that's
underage
okay.
have
That's
always
repeating.
been certain.
That's pretty much what I've covered. So if you don't already follow him, his name is Dwight Thomas, and he's on TikTok. It's Dwight Thomas. That's on Threads where I was seeing him. Honestly, y'all, in real time, I already knew about it at the time. And then they were trying to sell it as, oh, well, they have a duet together. Now it's a little bit more sinister, Wanya. I didn't know that he's some type musical mentor to her. Remember, they did Broken Hearted together as one of Brandy's biggest hits. So that's kind of slimy. That's a little icky. And the fact that he's lying about it. I'm glad to hear her speak her own truth in her own words and just take away any shame that she might feel or things that people might say about her. But just know that I don't believe that the girl is fast. I think if you're 14 or 15 or 16 and you have a crush on a grown man, it's up to the grown man to not let that relationship develop or do anything that would move it along further. I don't think it's right. I teach both of my sons how to cook and wash clothes at an early age. Yes, Cynthia Christian, I think that's the smartest thing to do also, so they won't be dependent on a woman to do that. Because the days of when you go away to college and some of these kids would bring their dirty clothes home for mom to wash, you're creating a monster for somebody's daughter, because nobody wants somebody's ashy, dusty son that can't do anything for themselves. I think that's pretty terrible, especially in an environment where both parties have need to be working for a long time. So we no longer have a person that can be a house husband or a housewife. Both people are probably going to develop a career and just have multiple streams of income coming in. So you do need everyone able to help. I agree. The adult man should not even want to be with a minor, and her parents should have protected her. CC, I think so too. I admire Wanya Norwood for her business sense, but some of the things, if we look at what the outcome has been for her children, looking at Ray J and what he is nowadays, and then the suffering that Brandy has gone through. I don't know. I feel like she put the manager part over the mom part. And I'm sorry for Brandy about that. I'm glad Brandy I see her with her daughter all the time. I think she's doing it a lot differently. And that young lady is in her early 20s now. I think I saw something of them going away to college. Linda is greeting Cynthia Christian, and like, comment, subscribe, and hype the video. Thank you so much, Linda Gamble. I appreciate that. She is a moderator here as well. Thank you so much for the update. There are 9 likes and 3 in the chat. Thank you so much. So we have people in and out of the chat, but thank you for coming in and leaving a like. I appreciate that. Sonia for sure did that. Yeah. And I think now we can look at it with clear eyes and say maybe that wasn't the best thing for Brandy, even though some of the opportunities that she had was amazing. Okay, and then somebody left a comment. I just mentioned Adina Howard before I saw this comment. Y'all know Adina Howard, I'll be a freak until the dawn. I used to love that song. But she's changed careers. She is a chef here in my city. She's a chef in Charlotte, very successful one as well. She caters and all that stuff too. But this is a comment. Again, everything said is alleged in my own opinion. And then I'm reading from threads. So we just saw the young man give his take on it, give a little bit of update on Brandy and Wanya. And then I'll read this comment because I just mentioned Adina Howard. It says, Adina Howard is vindicated. She was dating him too. She found out he was sleeping with Brandy and called him out for sleeping with a kid. She lost her whole career behind that. I mentioned, yeah, the record company did call her in and said, you can't date Wanya because Brandy's unhappy with it. Now, Brandy, I'm going to read more about it because then in the book, she's saying that she now feels that she was manipulated into the relationship. As an adult woman, someone in her 40s, I'm sure that she would see it differently. But probably as a 15, 16-year-old Brandy, I'm sure no one could have told her that then. I wish Sonia had, and Willie too, Willie Norwood too, the dad. I wish they had protected her more. And I'll read a couple more comments on this because I know you're going to see this all over the YouTube streets. So get in there, get in the chats, be active. And some of the comments are going to be pretty disgusting because a lot of the culture likes to blame the young ladies and make them fast and all that kind of stuff. And it's not that you're fast. I don't believe that at all. Thankfully, I was surrounded. I always had a father. I had 3 older brothers. And I also I'm from a family of 9 children. And then one of my brothers passed away. So I have 4 brothers and 4 sisters. So there are a lot of us. And I'm next to the youngest. So we were pretty much protected. So I thank God for that, because some of these men can be really disgusting and a lot of people encourage it. The mothers of some of these sons that are degenerate, some of the mothers do not think that it's a problem because, again, the son wouldn't be the one bringing the baby home. And a lot of these mothers, some of the boy moms, leave a lot to be desired. Luckily, mothers like Cynthia Christian, CC, are saying they teach their boys and they don't even want them dating younger and they can do for themselves. So thank God for that. But here's one of the comments. Regardless if Brandy was showing mad interest in Wanya first and consistently, it does not justify Wanya having sex with a minor while he's a legal grown man, especially when the age gap was 6 years apart. Again, 16 versus 22, no match. Having smoke for Brandy being fast, but nothing for Wanya. Intentionally taking her virginity or actively defending him is weird work. Wow, Wanya, just wow. That's the Kempire. I love Kempire. He's on Threads, so I'm sure he'll have a video about it. But let me just read his comment, and then I'll read a few more comments, and then we will start to wind down because we've been here almost 40 minutes, and I haven't read all the statements yet and gone through it. I just wanted to jump on. I'm going to go back to comments too. Thank you, Cece. I'll read your comments after Kempire's. I'm going to reread the brokenhearted chapter about Brandy's relationship with Wanya Morris. Kempire, they give you an advance copy. The way she ended that chapter was a mic drop. I was a child. He was an adult. And it's time the world understood the difference. I know that's right, Brandy. I agree with you. People blaming Brandy regarding her relationship with Wanya can go step on thumbtack-filled Legos. That's right. The Legos hurt enough, so fill them with thumbtacks. And Cece says, my sons and daughter can cook. The oldest became a chef, but left it for better pastures. I stopped washing my kids' clothes once they hit middle school. My husband cooks and washes his own clothes too. See, that is the way it should be. That, as Earth, Wind, and Fire said, that's the way of the world. But I don't know, this new group of boys moms, and then maybe they've always been those type moms. They want their sons to be treated like these princess. One of my cousins told his wife, I want you to treat me like my mama. Now his mama, we used to call them petted. Like when they're spoiled, we call them pets. And he was always like that. He lost his wife. She didn't want to take care of him. She left him. And she never went back. So he ended up getting someone from another culture. And I'm not going to stereotype, because the ladies Jamaicans, I know some Jamaicans that do not do that. But she don't mind petting him and putting him, he's the man, he's this, he's that, fixing his plate. That was the thing my cousin would get into it with his wife, fixing his plate and washing his dishes and doing all this stuff. And she was determined not to wait on him, and she didn't. And they didn't last. They were each other's first marriage and pretty young, like early 20s. So he's been with his wife over 20 years now, but he had to find somebody who didn't mind doing that. His first wife did. She's like, I'm not doing it. She said, go home to your mom. And then he lived right down the street from his mother. And they bought that house there for a reason. And he lost his wife. She moved out. Did Brandy actively have the label go after Adina Howard, or did they just use Brandy's name as a cover-up for Wanya? CC, that is an interesting question, because when I watched Adina Howard's Unsung, she said the label actually had words with her about it. And I think they probably were kind of low-key threatening her, like Brandy's unhappy. But I think that they would want to move for Wanya, because, again, I mean, Brandy's a Grammy winner too. Boyz II Men were winning all kind of Grammys. They had lucrative concert tours. They were everywhere in the Garanimals, singing and screaming and head shaking. So we know that. But yeah, I think the record company, especially with the culture of the music industry, probably was acting more on Wanya's behalf, but putting it on Brandy and pitting her against Adina Howard. You see how people like to triangulate women against each other. And then Adina, really, she was on Brandy's behalf saying, you nasty, you sleeping with a kid. And he's probably like, you just jealous. You know how some of these ninjas do. This is terrible. Some of these some of these parents love money so much that they will sell their children to the devil. Cynthia Christian, and I hate when these people bring it up, but it's a valid question. Like, where are the parents? We can ask, where are the parents? But we can also say, why is this adult person misstepping with a child? We'll go back to the late, great Aaliyah. Again, I don't wear this t-shirt a lot because look at the eyes. Can you see her? We know what Aaliyah went through at 15. And then they'll say probably, oh, she was fast. She's this, she's that. R. Kelly was grown. That man had to be maybe like 28, pushing 30. And that was something else sinister that Wanya did in that interview with Charlamagne first time around. Well, it wasn't like I was 30 years old or nothing. Ninja, you were 22. That is a huge age difference. If you're 22, you could have been in college, but you weren't. You were traveling the world. So he was much more advanced than someone who was, Brandy says 15 and then 16 the first time that he actually had sex with her. So it's kind of terrible. Kiwan J says, I strive to be rich auntie who's not doing jack for anyone. Yes, Kiwan J, that's my role. That's what I'm trying to do. Just to have the freedom to do the things that I want to do and not wait on anybody. If I do something for someone, it's because I choose to, not because I have to. But y'all, we are at a good stopping point. So keep an eye out for Brandy's book. I plan to get it and read it. Kempire sounded like he had an advanced copy. Is it released? I don't know. So I'm going to get that and read it. And we'll discuss this a little bit more. It's going to be a hot topic. But keep an eye and ear out for the people that windmill for Wanya, drag and blame Brandy. You're dealing with a degenerate and a possible weirdo. So I don't like to label people, but I will label someone on that. Keep in mind the age, 15, 16 years old versus 21, 22 years old. There's no match. And we know that the frontal lobe doesn't develop until 25 upwards to close to 30, depending on, circumstance. We know all of that, but we're talking about a teenage girl and a grown tail men. And it's a tale as old as time. I want it to come to an end eventually. And just because we have a PDF file that certain people have reelected, doesn't mean that all of these other ones are going to go free. We're trying to lock up the ones that have gotten away with it, as opposed to letting out the ones who have been caught. So that's the thing that gets under my skin. Well, so-and-so didn't do the time that this one did. We want to lock the other one up too. You come over here too. We're going to lock your tail up too. We're not letting these other one out. I had to pre-order my copy of Brandy book through Barnes and Nobles. Okay, Linda Gamble. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and order mine too. Or if I can find a bookstore that actually gets the advanced copies, then I'll have it in hand. Because again, I have 7 days coming up, 2 C days. So we're going to fly out first flight. Now, you know what? Airport bookstores are pretty good. The prices are, once you get to the airport, the price is the price. And you more than likely pay like whatever the price is. But the one I work at the airport, they have books. You can actually, you pay the full price for the book. And when you finish reading it, you turn it back in and you get most of the money back. So it depends. Now, I keep a lot of books because I'm a rereader. I'll go back and read something years later, especially if it's something that is near and dear to me and I love it. An autobiography like Brandy's, I probably would keep, but I can keep that in mind. I don't have to keep it. So Brenda's going to pre-order hers from Barnes and Nobles. I'll look at my local bookstore. 10 likes and 4 in the chat. Thank you for the update, Linda Gamble. I just purchased mine from Audible. Oh, so you get to like walk around or work out or do whatever you want to do or have it in your ear. That's a good idea too. I do like listening to books as well. And you know what, Kiwan J, I used to have a subscription to that, but the price went up so high, I ended up letting it go. But I think I could probably get 30 days free again if I reactivated it. I'll look into that as well because I like to listen to in addition to read. So that's a good idea. Thank you for coming in during the live. Mama 59 Works. You are going to be team replay. This is my sister, one of my moderators. Good morning, Sandra P, moderators and chat. Yes, okay. We were just talking about Audible, everybody. So Linda is going to pre-order hers from Barnes and Nobles. There are a lot of other booksellers, independent Black bookstores, if you have any near you. And then also Audible is a good idea. You can listen to the book. But yeah, let's run these numbers up for Brandy's book. She's going to get dragged for this book. She just came off a very successful tour with Monica. Monica's gone through a lot in that industry too. Our late, great, forever teenager. Well, she was 22. So she didn't get to live her whole life. Aaliyah. But a lot of these young ladies, I just want to lift them up. And I'm glad Brandy can tell her story. And if Wanya don't like it, he don't have to like it. You write a book, Wanya. Wagging head singing fool. He makes me sick. I had to stop using Audible because when I listen to books, I start doing things causing me to not listen. I had to keep rewinding chapters. Yeah, that is the downside, CC. You feel like you're multitasking, but you're really not taking in the information. So that is something to consider. Good morning, Mama 59 Works. Yes, everyone who have come in now, please click the like button. If you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. And go ahead and hype if you're a team replay. And this topic was Brandy and Wanya. I'm going to do a political discourse with multiple topics. And y'all, as this conversation gets hot on the YouTube streets, it'll probably come up again. But thank you for joining me on Hump Day. Have a great rest of your week. And I will see you all in the YouTube streets. Bye, everybody. Have a great one. I'm going to leave CC's comment up. It's interesting. Brandy's book came out after the tour ended. Is Monica covered in the book? I think she will be, and they used to be rivals. Now, Monica, CC, she just got her, Brandy just got her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and Monica was there. And a lot of stuff, and they were pitted against each other as young women. Remember, they had The Boy Is Mine, and they went on the Grammys. I think Monica ended up popping Brandy. Brandy used to be real silly and kind of a slick mouth. And no excuse, Monica, you don't get to pop people, but she ended up popping her. And the performance was very awkward, might I say. But she supported her on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Brandy just got her star. So much love to all those young ladies surviving this industry that we love, but we look down into it and it's so nasty. Sometimes you hate it. But again, I'm a lover of music. I try not to think too much about the behind the scenes, but this one just struck me because I heard Charlemagne cackling. I can't stand him. And I just hope that we get down in there and we'll gonna windmill for Brandy, because you can't be 14 and 15 is not fast. I'm sorry. I'm gonna die on that hill. I'm gonna stand on it. Kiwan J is talking about Audible. kind of taking your attention. I definitely understand. So everyone, have a happy hump day. Enjoy the rest of your week. And I will see you in the YouTube streets. Goodbye, everybody.
Just put a label on it, even if it doesn't change the circumstance. Because there's so much about this moment that is trying to make people feel like they've lost their mind. When in fact, these motherfuckers are crazy.